Welcome. This is the Sundaze Brunch podcast. I am your host, Bobby Matz.
I am Ryan Bronson, and we have a special guest today, guys.
Yes, we do. Introduce him, Ryan. Who do we got today?
We have the man, the myth, the legend, Jon Kilmer.
Yes, sir.
How are you,
Put
man?
your lighters in the air.
I ain't got one. I got a beer.
Kilmer, thank you for joining us today. How's everything going on your end?
Oh, it's good, man. It's a sunny day here in Arizona. I got my Kelly Clarkson shirt on. Life really can't get any better than that.
Beautiful. The mullet's coming in great. Love to see it.
It's growing. It's getting there.
It's getting there. So, Kilmer, you are a man of many facets and tools. You are a director. You're a producer. You play how many instruments?
I like 4 or 5.
4 or 5. So talk to us about a little bit of that. You know, like what was the like driving force? Was there like a certain point in your life to where you're like, this is what I want to do? Or like what were like the factors like leading up to you, like, you know, initially picking up the camera or pursuing what you are doing today?
Sure, yeah. Let's bring it back to the early 2000s. I'll paint the picture for you guys. I was probably 13 years old, picked up my first camera, fell in love with it, filmed like jackass videos with my friends, even though they tell you not to do it yourself at the beginning of the show. We did it anyways.
Iconic.
Like me and my friends would like film, you know, lighting shit on fire, blowing shit up, beating the crap out of each other. That's where the camera stuff started.
Okay.
Just doing completely irresponsible stuff. And then when I got into high school, I was lucky enough for my high school program to have like a video art class, which most high schools, yeah, a lot of high schools don't have that, especially back then, because I'm a fucking dinosaur. So back then there was like video stuff was not that accessible. So I instantly fell in love with the video side of things at a very young age, 13, 14 years old. And that's when I started, you know, using the cameras, learning the editing software, all that. So it's been a long journey there. And then music, right around the same time when I was 14 years old, I believe in 8th or 9th grade, our school like forced us to take a guitar class, which is also super fucking random.
That is super.
That's random, but dope at the same time.
Like our music, it was music class, but like in music class, they're like, all right, this semester we're gonna learn guitar. And like that's all we did for a whole semester. Every kid in the class. That's like recorder in the 2nd grade, but we did it with guitar.
That's
so
sick.
Yeah, another random thing from the universe that kind of made me fall in love with guitar, with music. So right around that time, 13, 14 years old, like the real impressionable ages, that's when I really fell in love with both things. And I knew that I wanted to kind of do both creative routes, music and film.
Hell yeah.
So where in the country was that? Because you don't hear that in a lot of schools. Like, where did you grow up at?
Oh, it's that's some classic like New England private school shit.
Oh, so you grew up in the northeastern part of the states?
Yeah, New England, like there's fucking private schools all over the place. They're rampant. So I went to one of those in my hometown, and that's where they had all that shit.
Then was it the film or the music that took you to New York City?
It was film, I guess. I majored in film in college in Long Island, New York, and I kind of wanted to stay in New York just because it was like an easy transition from school. It was like 40 minutes away. So, and it was a fucking super intimidating city. So it was a great city to start out at a young age.
Fair enough. Now, we have a lot of listeners on here that are like upcoming artists who are trying to do shit in the same specter. Like, when you jumped and made that leap, was it a lot of like networking and contacts that you were making? Did you have like a plan of attack when you went there? Or did you kind of just like put yourself around people who were like-minded and parts fell together?
It was part networking and hard work and part luck. I established a clientele even when I was like a junior in college and on. I'm sure you guys are familiar with the rapper Chris Webby from Connecticut. He's a pretty big rapper, and he was actually in my fraternity. Strangely enough. And
really?
Yeah. So my junior year, me and Chris lived in the fraternity house together. I was like, I had a recording studio, like a shitty recording studio in the fraternity house in the basement. And I was just like making beats and fucking around. And like, I was even rapping myself just for fun. And then Chris comes along and he's like, I'm a rapper. And he's like kind of popping on MySpace a little bit. There wasn't even like Spotify or YouTube wasn't even that big yet. That's
I
how
forgot
long ago
about
it was.
MySpace.
MySpace. Shout out the real
He's
ones.
popping on MySpace, yeah. And then he just, we kind of just instantly connected that way where I started recording a lot of his music. I produced some of his beats. And then right off the bat, my first client ever, Chris Webby, ends up being like a pretty well-known rapper. So from there, I started getting a few more clients here and there throughout college. And by the time I graduated, I had enough of a name for myself where I could get enough business to survive.
Hell yeah. That's amazing. I did not know that story about Webby and everything. That's crazy. What fraternity were you guys in?
We were in SAE, Sigma Alpha Epsilon.
Oh shit. Okay. Okay.
Small world. We've toured with Webby a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the best. He's as good as they come.
Yeah, he's a good
He's
guy.
a great guy. Great guy. So going from New England and then you lived in New York City. And then how long were you in New York City for?
I was in New York City for 5 years. Yeah.
And then you went from New York City and you and pretty much like the entire crew and everybody came to LA, or did you make the jump to LA before everyone?
No, they moved to LA before me. And I made the switch a few months later. I made the switch as well. And I ended up moving in the house with them. But yeah, that was kind of like a big transition for us where our team finally decided to fully immerse ourselves in one house, So
yeah. Now making that jump from New York City, to LA, obviously they're two of the biggest cities in the country, very tough cities to make it in because everyone's there trying to make it, right?
Yeah.
So what would you say to you would be like the biggest difference in the like cities themselves?
Man, New York and LA is like polar opposites. New York's very hustle and bustle. You wake up in the day, you can kind of feel the energy in your balls a little bit when you wake up in the morning. People are all like always commuting. People are always moving. It gives you the motivation to, if you're sitting around, you're like, fuck, I gotta do something, you can't get complacent in New York City. And that was great for my early 20s because it kind of lit a fire under my ass and it got me to really put in the work and the hours to network and to perfect my craft and all that shit. And then when I got to LA, kind of the exact polar opposite. It's kind of like, let's chill, let's get high, let's party, let's that type of stuff. And it's always sunny, there's never any bad weather. So it's harder to stay motivated in LA for sure, but the opportunities, especially in the entertainment industry, there was a lot more in Los Angeles. So I think we went
more
there.
enticing.
We went there at the exact right time, I think.
Fair enough. Now tell us about we just saw the announcement about the new Ballina Cup. That's exciting as fuck. And we see that you donate a lot of the money to charities. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we for those that don't know, we about a year and a half ago when COVID started and quarantine started, we did a celebrity virtual beer pong tournament on Instagram Live. And it was for charity. So we raised a bunch of money for COVID relief. We had a bunch of like famous athletes and personalities and musicians. We had like Machine Gun Kelly, the Nelk Boys, Travis Kelce, you name it. We just had a bunch of huge people, Morgan Wallen. And a lot of people weren't touring sports, a lot of seasons were canceled. So we kind of took advantage of it. Mike's a popular guy, so he called up all these people that he's friends with. And that's how the Ballina Cup started, where it's kind of like virtual beer pong. You play Instagram Live, and that was a celebrity tournament. These days, we kind of transformed it into like a high stakes beer pong league that anyone could play in. So you pay like a couple $100 per team, and then the winner wins a fuck ton of money, and the winner also gets a free trip to come see us at the ranch to play Mike and a special guest in person. So that's been a fun business model for our fans anyways, because it's just a great way to get people involved and doing fun stuff.
For sure. Now, what is this year's model? Is that going to charity also?
No, the charity was just for the celebrity tournament, and that was for this one's going towards the charity of the Mike Stud Fund.
Fair enough.
So Kilmer, when you're not obviously working with the crew and everything, I know you have your own like individual things, because you were the director of the Primrose, right?
Yep, that was my first independent film that I wrote, directed, co-produced, you name it. I did pretty much a lot of it.
Now, was that was that a giant leap in your career, would you say? Like, because with that being the first like film, like how did you like go into that?
Yeah, so I'd say around 2017. I mean, ultimately, I always wanted to be a feature film writer and director. That's kind of what I went to school for. Been my dream for a long time. On an independent level, it's very hard to jump into that because it's an incredibly daunting task to raise money for a film and shoot it and make it. It's just it's a very difficult task.
For sure.
But in 2017, I was just like, I just gotta fucking do it. You know, even if it sucks balls, I'm just gonna write a script and I'm gonna shoot it. Even if it's a train wreck, even if I don't have enough money, I'm just gonna do the best I can to get the first movie under my belt, just to say I did it. And it was kind of like a almost 2 year process from like writing it to raising the money with crowdfunding on Kickstarter to like planning it and shooting it and editing it all and then getting it in festivals. And then now ultimately it got on Amazon Prime. So anyone with Amazon Prime can watch it. But very long process, probably the hardest thing I ever had to do. But it was, yes, it was a giant leap in this, not in the sense that it was like this giant successful movie, but it was a success that I kind of got that first stepping stone, which now it's like I'm already writing my second one. It's almost finished being written and I'm jumping right back into it again.
Oh, that's exciting.
That's amazing.
That's
dude.
very
Congrats
exciting.
on that.
Yeah, congrats on that.
Appreciate it.
So
It's
definitely,
actually,
what's that, right?
sorry, I was gonna say it's actually like inspiring. It seems like a lot of like your career, you've just whatever you've had a passion to do, you've just gone for it. And it seems to, with a lot of hard work, of course, seems to work out. And it's inspiring that like nose to the ground, you can pretty much do whatever the fuck you want to do, you know?
Right on, man. Yeah, it's like skydiving, which is a funny example because I've never been skydiving because I'm terrified of it. But I imagine it's like that. You just have to fucking, you have to leap. You know it's gonna suck. It's gonna be fucking terrible. There's gonna be a lot of failures, a lot of many anxiety attacks. But if it's something you ultimately want to do and it's gonna give you fulfillment, then you just have to do it. There's no buts about it.
Better to say you do it and failed than regret not trying, right?
Yep, exactly.
So is the Jon Kilmer memoir an actual thing that's going to happen?
Yeah, I've been writing it since 2015. Since like I started it the day I moved to Los Angeles on the plane before I moved in with everyone in West Hollywood. I started the memoirs, and I've been keeping at it pretty much for the last like 6 years. So it's the length of a book probably right now. I don't know if I'm comfortable putting it out yet, because I have parents who love me and stuff, and I want to keep it that way. There's some terrible stuff in there, like awful stuff.
Is most of that stuff documented on film?
Yeah, that's the thing. I have the video to back it up. So if anyone says bullshit, I'm like, all right, let's bring back the game tape.
I was gonna say, Kilmer, yeah, that's one thing that like I know you for, like watching your career. You always have the camera on you, like always.
Mm-hmm.
So was there ever a time that you didn't have the camera on you and you just were thinking to yourself, is like, why don't I have the camera? Like, I need it right now.
Yeah, of course, dude. I mean, we, if you know our group, we like to get after it. We like to drink a little bit. And just there are times there's times you're just a little too fucked up to be filming and you don't have a camera on. It's I don't want to jinx it, knock on wood. It's incredible I haven't lost a camera yet. Like, it's insane,
So speaking of drinking, what would you say would be your all-time like favorite drink of choice, like your go-to drink?
Man, I'm a vibe guy. It depends on the vibe. I'll just shout out the different vibes for you though. If it's like a late night, I'm kicking it. I like a little red wine, a little weed to kind of like relax and settle my daily anxiety. If I'm like trying to be classy as fuck and like impress a girl, or if I'm just trying to look fly as hell, I'll get like a nice scotch, nice aged scotch.
Okay.
Big scotch on the rocks guy.
Okay.
If I'm fucking chilling with the bros and I want to pound like a zillion drinks, Bud Light all the way. Bud Light till the day I die.
Of course.
Trying to think of if I'm trying to like really fire the jets, like really turn shit up, it's either shots of tequila, Red Bull vodkas, or a new drink that I learned about in Nashville called a pipe bomb, which is where you take a Red Bull can and you kind of pop it open like you're going to shotgun it. You pour a little out and you pour some vodka into the can, and then you shotgun the can of a Red Bull with vodka. It's insane.
I'm gonna need to fucking try that one.
Yes,
That sounds.
That'll shave some years off your life. It's insane.
So
speaking of Nashville, now, did you make the move out there, or like are you like in Arizona now, because you're not in LA anymore, right?
Yeah, no, we as a unit, we left LA about a year ago, and since then we spent the year traveling. Every like month or two we kind of just move. We condensed all our shit to like a small moving truck, so whenever we pack up and leave, we just pack up a little truck and we go to the next place. So in the past year we've been to let me think, Utah, Arizona, Montana, Florida, Texas, Nashville. I think that's everything. Now we're back in Arizona.
In Arizona? Okay.
Yeah.
What's that like, just catching vibes in different places, not having like a permanent station that you stay at? Is it taxing? Is it refreshing? What's that vibe like?
Yeah, we're road dogs at heart. So we've been touring for like almost 10 years at this point. So we're pretty accustomed to packing up and moving. But it's been a year of it. So yeah, I think we're all kind of hitting the end of the line where we're like, we just kind of want to, hunker down in one spot and chill for a little bit. But man, the last year, what a fucking wild ride. I mean, we released a documentary not too long ago called Life Got Crazy documentary, which it's not public yet, but we sent it out to anyone who pre-ordered Mike's last album. And you can kind of just see in those 45 minutes, like just the diversity of the different places we've been and what it did for Mike's music and how it kind of changed all our lives in a way, especially in a time that everyone's so complacent with being quarantined or like out of work or working from home. We did the exact opposite, and we just fucking kept moving and kept changing scenery. So I'm grateful for it. It was taxing at times, but looking back, I'm very grateful for it. And I think we can all agree it was maybe one of the best years of all of our lives.
That's incredible.
So you would say definitely like a lot of growth and everything came out of this last year.
It gives perspective, I mean, you get out of your bubble and comfort zone and you get so much perspective on the fucking world and perspective on your own life. And you literally see the entire fucking country in a span of a year. And it just kind of opens up your mind a little more, it's kind of hard to explain, but that's what it did for me anyways. Because
I see things in a little bit of a different light.
Yeah, most people, I mean, I know a lot of people that have been working from home for the past year and a half, and their perspective is just their fucking apartment and maybe going to the store or the gym or like their block. And for me, it's like I've been to like 7 different states, and all of them are different, and all the people are different in all those places, and it's just kind of opened my eyes a little more.
Now, saying and like being everywhere that you've been, would you say that your heart lies somewhere? Like, like, all right, this is it. This is where I know I want to like be.
It's tough, dude. It's tough. Nashville, I think we all ultimately want to end up in Nashville. That's kind of the plan. It's a great music city. It's an up and coming city. We've already spent some time there. We had a great time there. And that's going to be the end goal. When, I'm not so sure, probably sometime early next year, we'll probably end up there permanently. But I love Nashville, man. Like, Nashville is great. I really love Tampa. That was a great experience. We were grateful enough to be staying in Marcus Stroman's house. So like that was great, staying there. And then, I mean, even here in Arizona, we have so many friends here. And this is kind of like similar to LA, but just better in a lot of ways. So yeah, man, I've caught a vibe in a lot of different places.
So you traveling with your bros all the time, I got to ask the question that a lot of people probably wonder, do you guys ever fight?
Not really, dude. It's like I guess we're lucky enough to be staying in homes that are like big enough where we can stay out of each other's ways. We're not like on top of each other. So in that sense, we could spend almost entire days where we really don't even see each other or say a word to each other. So and there's we've been doing this for so long. We've been kind of living under the same roof for 6 years now. So there's some weird group harmony that it just, everything's fine and it works out. Not a lot of fights. I mean, we annoy each other all the fucking time because it's like, it's just like any family, really. People annoy
Probably
the shit
sometimes intentionally.
Yeah, I'm sure I annoy the fuck out of everyone at times, but it is what it is. We all get along, and we're kind of all working towards one goal. So there's a nice harmony over here.
Fair enough.
Mhm.
So when you for Jon Kilmer, right? What is your
Yeah.
ultimate life goal behind the camera? Do you want to have a feature film? Do you want to stay with what you're doing now forever? Like what's your ultimate life's work goal?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I want to do the writing and directing of feature films. I kind of knew going into it is going to be a long road, and it's not really like the music industry where if you start getting old, it's like, what's this old guy doing? Trying to rap.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it is a life goal, and there's not really any rush on my end to pursue it so quickly, which is why I'm kind of taking my sweet time with it. But it's something ultimately I want to end up doing, full time, which would be awesome. I just know it's probably going to be like 10, 15 years before I really start to see something, successful that I can start doing it full time.
Right.
Yeah. In the meantime, I love what I'm doing now. I love hanging with my team and going on tour and producing all this content and working with artists. That's the most fun for me right now, and I love doing that.
Amazing.
Now, speaking of like going on tour and all that, I just gotta ask: is there a like 100% like need checklist that
Tour
you
survival guide
like that you have to have while you are on tour?
Yeah, I'd say, I mean, our immune systems are fucking insane at this point. I don't know how, but it's very rare that we get sick on the road. And we've toured, like, one of our last tour was during a winter vortex. It was the coldest the country's ever been in like 90 years. Like, we were hitting cities and it was like minus 50 wind chill every night in the Midwest.
Fuck
And
that.
Oh hell no.
and dude, we didn't really get sick. I can't remember really any of us really getting sick on the road. And I mean, personally, I started doing like the multivitamins, the probiotics every day for gut health, and because you're just eating fucking dog shit every day, and drink water, hydration. Can't stress that enough. Can never hydrate enough. um, and then, yeah, dude. I mean, that's where you kind of just have to be built for it. I mean, you're either built for it or you're not. Some people just can't handle the road.
That is very, very true. Now, especially like with tour and everything, and I don't know if all of our viewers know what it was, but you and the team had a very, very successful web series early on in your guys' career with Touring is Boring, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Yeah.
and then that spun off to the TV show, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, with the TV show, did you have any like creative control or anything like say with that, or like was that completely like outside of your guys' camp and whatnot?
Yeah. So the television show 2016, This Is Mike Stud. It was picked up based off of our Touring's Boring web series, the success of that, and it was kind of a 2 or 3 year thing of like pitching it and finding the right person. And we did have creative control because we went with a network that was kind of on the smaller side, which was Esquire network. We got offers from bigger networks, but if we did an MTV or like a E or a Bravo or something like that, we wouldn't have had any creative control. They would have made us all look like assholes. It would have been like a Jersey Shore music style. You know what I mean?
Oh wow.
Which we didn't want. I mean, that's not what Mike wants to be known for. But we had a compelling story, and our life on the road is very entertaining, and we just have we all have a very cool backstory of how we all kind of started and got together. So we wanted that story to be told. So we went with a smaller network, and we had so much creative control. It was like insane. Like they sent us like 8 or 9 edits per episode before it came out, and every edit we could be like, no, we don't want that in there, fuck that, and they'd actually take it out.
That's amazing.
Which is it's unheard of. Yeah, that's unheard of
Yeah.
in reality TV. Like that, they never do that in reality TV.
Yeah, no,
That's crazy. That's awesome that you and everybody in the camp had that much creative control, especially over that big of a project.
Yeah.
It's also a testament to like you guys putting yourself and getting yourself that much leverage to be able to obtain that.
Yeah, we knew it would be like a smaller audience. You know, we wouldn't be reaching, you know, millions every week, but it's still, the show is still a hit. And I think we would have done a second season, but once like Netflix and Hulu started popping off, all those little networks kind of went bankrupt. So that we had that one season, and then the network went completely bankrupt, and we would just, even though we were the #1 show in the whole network, we couldn't do another one, which was unfortunate.
Damn, that is very unfortunate. I always wondered why another second season never came out of that, because the first season was actually really good.
Yeah, the whole season, they're like, these, like, the numbers are crazy. Like, we're gonna do a season 2. Like, this is, you know, it's gonna blow up. And we're like, yeah. And then, but the last episode, they're bankrupt.
Fuck. Damn.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
It's just the way it goes sometimes. So I know you gotta get going here. Gonna wrap
Actually,
it.
I just got a text saying my call got pushed back a few minutes. So I mean, we can go a little longer if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine.
If you have more questions, your call.
Yeah, we definitely had a few other questions. We were gonna narrow it down, but if you got a few extra minutes, then we will rapid fire the rest of them.
We'll keep the banter going.
Let's fire it up.
So we got a random ass question for you, because we told a few of our friends that we were gonna have Kilmer on the pod, and a few of them are always like, he's always talking about porn on his podcast. What's the Kilmer porn? What's the Kilmer porn category of choice?
All right. I mean, it's pretty obvious. It's pretty obvious, but it's not an obvious category. A lot of people don't know about it. I'm a huge advocate of this category. I think it's up and coming. I think it's awesome. I think it's very creative. I think it's fucking electric. It's known as, it's an acronym, and it's called PMV. PMV. You know what that stands for?
I have no idea.
It stands for porn music video.
Wow.
Music video. And these motherfuckers, these like fucking amazing editors. You can tell they're like real life editors, like people like me that are just fucking horn dogs that love to edit. They'll take like any category, like let's say like hot teens or something, and they'll be like, I'm gonna make, they're like, they pick a song and they make a whole porn music video just of like hot teens, and it's like a fire fucking edit, like fast edit to a song.
What?
So I'm not only getting turned on by the chicks, I'm getting turned on by the editing techniques. I'm like, oh yeah, sick crosscut, dude.
Oh my god.
There's really something for everybody.
It's pushing all your right buttons. No shit. I did not even know that was a favorite, not even a favorite category.
I didn't know that existed.
Look up PMV, dude. It's everywhere. It's fucking huge.
I'm intrigued.
Why haven't you made one yet?
Yeah.
I have made some.
in your archives for your memoir.
Yeah, in my archives. No, Pornhub started cracking down on like copyright shit. Like I'd go under like a pseudonym on Pornhub and like make some fire edits, and I'd post them up, and it was obviously super illegal because I didn't own any of the fucking content. But it eventually all got taken down.
That's actually incredible.
Sucking the fun out of everything.
And then, dude, I don't know if you ever get lost in like the Pornhub comments. I do all the time.
Oh yeah.
And some of my comments, they're like, dude, fucking fire edit, bro, with like fire emojis. And I'm like, yeah. PMV king.
That's amazing.
I'm going to the top with PMV, bro.
Yeah, dude. I made Pornhub the hottest videos one week. I was like, I charted.
No way.
You charted on Pornhub?
I charted on Pornhub, dude.
That's fucking classic. What an absolute legend. Charting on, oh my fucking god.
I'm gonna need you to change your Instagram bio to charting Pornhub editor.
Yeah, man. Fucking charted hard.
That's iconic. We're gonna rein it back in for a second, go to like a more serious topic. What's the so obviously, like we said before, you play a bunch of instruments, you produced a lot. Was it do you still dabble in that a little bit, or do you just mainly stick to camera and like the business side of things?
I'd say like every couple of years I find artists that I really like that I want to collaborate with. It's pretty rare, but like it's one artist like every couple of years. obviously like I worked a lot with Mike in the early years, and then he blew up, and now he works with like some of the best producers in the whole fucking world. So so I let them do their thing. Don't fix it if it ain't broke. But there's currently I'm working with a young artist who's kind of like part of that new like that like rock pop sound that's kind of coming back.
Okay.
It's like kind of getting more popular. His name's 44 Phantom. He's like super young, 19 years old. I started working with him when he was 17, but a lot of his music is like rock inspired, a lot of guitar within the music, which is kind of what drew me to it, because that's my forte. Like I love the guitar sounds, I love the rock stuff, I love kind of blending modern sounds with rock music. So I've done a lot of stuff for him over the past 2 years, and he just signed to Columbia about 6 months ago, maybe. So
Good for him.
He's doing great things. Everyone check his stuff out. He's got a fucking beautiful voice, amazing songwriter, and yeah, we've been making some great stuff.
That's incredible. Good for him. So like when it comes to like producing for somebody that you've like came in contact with, or do you do the whole beat itself, or do you just like guitar over existing things? Is it a little bit of both? Do you dabble with the writing at all?
Definitely not the writing. That's not my forte, but generally like I'll do it like one of two ways. Like I'll put an instrumental demo together that I'll just make, off the top of my head, which, if they can write to it, great. If not, then, I'll just send them something else. But a lot of times, like, especially with him, and I love this for an artist, when like an artist can put together a demo themselves.
Okay.
So like a lot of times like artists, they're good enough to play like the piano or guitar, like, okay, like kind of decent, to the point where they can write a song and they can lay it down, but the instrumental won't be like polished or good enough to make it as like a single or as a song. So 44 Phantom has been great, where like he'll just send me a demo that's like super raw, and then I can like actually just go in and replay stuff and make it better, make the drums better, replay the guitar, add more layers. That's like kind of my sweet spot, where like the artist can really have full creative control of what the song is, but then I just make it better.
Oh yeah.
Fair. So yeah, you do a lot of the engineering aspects and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
So in other words, I need to send a demo to Jon Kilmer.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's great, because like making demos as an like producer, it's like you don't know if the artist is gonna like it. Like it can go in so many different ways. You're kind of just like guessing like it'll be dope to you, but like it might not be dope to the artist. Whereas if the artist is like, here's an idea, this is kind of what I'm going for, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I see what you're going for, I'm gonna make it better now. That's kind of where I like that, because there's no wasted time there. It's not like I'm guessing as a producer like what these artists are gonna like by just making shit from scratch.
Sure.
Yeah.
So we'll give you 2 closing questions to end with. One, if you could say something to your younger self, what would it be?
Wear protection.
I love it. Short, sweet, and simple.
It'd save a lot of trips to the clinic.
Got maybe a few little Johns running around somewhere.
Hey, dude, don't joke about that. I think about that all the time. I'm like, what if like these girls like just got pregnant and never told me, and they're just like, these kids are just running around in my DNA inside of them. I mean, like it could happen.
20 years down the road, you get approached by some random person. It's like, hey, are you Jon Kilmer? Why?
I'm gonna be like Vince Vaughn in that movie Delivery Man. Have you ever see that?
Yes. Where he's got like thousands of fucking kids because he was a sperm donor.
Yeah, that's basically gonna be my life in 10 years.
Little future video camera legends.
There's just gonna be a whole group of like a whole Coachella-sized group of kids that are just all my children. Oh, that'd be a nightmare.
Have your own TV show, All My Children.
All My Children, yes.
Oh Christ.
And then lastly, if you could, for a lot of people today, millions of songs get released every single day. Millions of people are turning to try to be content creators and all that. It's a very crowded space. If you could give advice to a lot of people who are up and coming, and whether it's music, whether it's video, whether it's any fucking career path that they try to choose, that they have a dream in being, if you could give one piece of advice to people trying to pursue whatever the fuck it is that they want to be, what would you tell them?
Well, there's two sides of this. There's the business side, and then there's the creative side. On the creative side, I think people get too wrapped up with the outcome of things versus just falling in love with the process of doing the things. Like I know for me, I try not to get wrapped up on what's gonna, like my movie, for example. I didn't get wrapped up on whether or not the movie was going to be a success and whether or not like Netflix would pick it up or if I'd make a ton of money off it. I was obsessed with the process of doing it because I knew that it was going to be a learning process, and by the end of it, I'm going to be better at what I am trying to end up doing. So if people, I mean, especially now, young people are just so impatient for results because we're so overstimulated as a society right now, and we get things so instantly. And I think it's forced creative people to just get so impatient with quote unquote blowing up or get it like being successful. So
right.
I would say just, if you're not in love with the process, you shouldn't be doing it in the first place. So just love what you do. And if you love what you do, you're going to put a lot of time into it and you're going to feel fulfilled every day. And, a few years down the line, you're going to be an expert at it and you're just going to attract success. You're not going to be seeking success. It'll be attracted to you because you love what you do. That's really how it works. Law
of attraction.
And then on the business side of things, and it's something that we've been doing the past year or so, is instead of like, and this is applicable to us because we've been independent this whole time, but I think people are a little too obsessed with fame and wanted to like attract as many fans as possible versus just like really catering to like your core fan base, the people that like really fucking rock with you, the ones that are spending money to come to your shows and buy your merch and whatever. Like cater to those people that really care about you versus like just trying to be the most famous person on earth, because at the end of the day, the core fan base are going to be the ones that are going to be financially like supporting you and giving you the capability to do what you love for as long as possible.
Right.
And I think people just get too wrapped up with like, oh, like I need to get my song on Spotify and I need to get like 100 million views and I need this and that and win a Grammy and date a rock star, like date like a famous person. Like none of that shit matters. At the end of the day, like even if you just have like 1,000 people that really fuck with you and those 1,000 people give you $100 a year, I mean, think how much money that is. You're now a very successful musician with only 1,000 really core fans versus having like 1 million fans of people who just don't really give a fuck about you, that know about you, but like don't really give a fuck about you and will never spend money to come to a show. So that's the way I see it. And especially now when you can, we do like monthly fan clubs and stuff like that for Mike's Music and for our podcast. And that's just going to be such a growing model over the years. And I bet you a year or two from now, every artist and every creator is going to have shit like that. I know, like you see like Nelk Boys, a lot of YouTubers are doing it. A lot of podcasters are doing it. Music space is next. And I think a lot of musicians are going to start doing it as well.
That's actually a really great insight and actually very smart. Better to have loyal listeners and loyal people who actually ride with you in your lifestyle than to just have casual people who just stop by every once in a while. I mean, obviously both sides are important, but it's great to have the people who actually ride with you and to give back to them for riding with you. I respect that outlook. I respect everything you guys do.
1,000 diehard fans giving you $100 a year. That's $100,000. You have $100,000 now. That's, like that. That's a great first step, and that's only 1,000 people that you're like really, that you're really like fucking with. So. That's my advice. I would just like pay attention to the people that really fuck with you and just grow that loyal fan base.
That's amazing. Well, Jon, thank you so much for hopping on the podcast.
Yes, thank you so much for tuning in, giving us your time. Really
sorry
insightful.
For the technical difficulties in the beginning.
We're not a logistics company either. Don't even worry about
it. We appreciate your time, man. Thank you for real.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks for having me on. Anytime, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you, Jon. And again, thank you, Jon, for stopping in. Jon Kilmer, everybody. Amazing, talented man. If you don't know who he is, check him out. He's got a lot of stuff. Thank you. A lot of knowledge bombs he dropped today.
He dropped a lot of knowledge on that. One of the things that I would really like to dissect about that and re-say to our listeners is his point about falling in love with the process.
Yes. The journey is where you need to be because the end you shouldn't want to get to the end so fast because it's the end, it's done.
Right. And like
enjoy the process, enjoy the journey, enjoy the dirt.
And it's so easy to get caught up in that. Like I think both of us are guilty of it. Like
every artist is guilty of it.
Yeah. Like everybody like of any profession, really. We're so obsessed with and consumed by the idea of the goal.
Yes.
That it's easy to get caught up in the day to day.
It really is easy to get caught up in the day to day. And plus, like, I can speak for myself on this. I don't, if other people can relate, this may be useful to you, but there are times to where, like as an artist and like a creator, or like you said, really any career, sometimes you get burnt out.
Yeah.
And you can't be hard on yourself because, dude, like sometimes you just need to refresh and get more stimulation and get more stuff to talk about. And a lot of people don't understand that. And like, you and I had this conversation a while back, is part of being a creator is living life.
100%.
And if you're just creating, and you're not living life, how can you still create when you're not intaking anything?
100%. And like when you're to have output, you need to have input.
Yes.
And if you don't love what you're doing every step of the way, when you get to that end goal, you're not going to be happy with it.
Yeah.
And I think like you and I have been in these situations before in music, and I think a lot of people can apply this to whatever their career is, whatever their job is. There's been times where we've played shows to 30 people, and while we're at the shows, we're looking at it for some reason at that point in time, we've both like felt like an aggravation of like, we drove all this way, there's not a lot of people here, and then as soon as the show gets over and those 30, like before the show happens, that's like when we're having that, and then we go on stage, give those 30 people everything that we have, and those 30 people connect with us and show us love, and there's no feeling like that. And we afterwards were like, why the fuck, like, were we just like so discouraged? And those 30 people, like John was saying, if you have 1,000 people, you can turn that into $100,000
by just them giving you $100 once a year.
Right. So,
but also like going down into like the audience thing, I think it was Boise, Idaho, when we performed at that night.
That's the example I was talking about.
And I don't even think there was 30 people there. There was maybe like 10, 15.
Yeah. But every single person there bought merch.
Every single person there bought merch.
Because they were there to
actually still checks in.
100%.
Those are the loyal people that you want to get by your side.
Yep, exactly.
Because like I feel like Jon, he laid it out perfect.
100%.
Kilmer laid it out perfect.
And this episode was a big deal for Bobby and I because one, Jon's just a very talented dude, has a lot of knowledge, has been in the industry for a very long time. And two, one of the people that we've looked up to has been Mike, and we've gotten a lot of, like, we did a few shows with him, and we've hit the first tour that he ever did was the first, I think, concert Mark had or Bobby had ever been to.
Yes, it was. And I think in New York, it was the first show on his very first tour.
Yeah, and we saw Mike up there performing. We were like, we caught that bug. We saw Kilmer up there with his camera. We were like, we need that. We need somebody to document our shit. And it's just been, it's very cool to see people that, because oftentimes in this industry, and I'm sure a lot of industries, when you get to that, you talk to the people who have been like at the top or in a higher sphere than you're in. A lot of times you talk to people and they have egos, and it's very cool when you see people who are still in a very successful position, and it's inspiring to see them still loving what they do, being passionate about what they do, still wanting to help other people and talk to other people about.
Very grounded.
Yeah. And just that journey of loving what you do every single day, and not being too high on yourself, not taking yourself too fucking serious. It's important, and it will take you to wherever the fuck you want to go. It will get you that freedom of where you want to be.
100%. 100%. Couldn't have said it better myself, my boy.
100%.
Bro, these hot Cheetos are busting.
Doug, It's hot as fucking here right now, and my seltzer got fucking cold. I don't even know why I grabbed a seltzer. It's like, this sounds good today.
Time out. Time out. You just said it's hot as fucking here, and my seltzer just got cold.
My seltzer got hot. Little update on what's going on with us before we wrap here. Sunday, October 3rd. Today, catch us tonight in Minneapolis, opening for Dax. October 4th, Iowa City, Iowa, opening for Dax.
Yeah.
It's Bobby's first time on stage since 2016. Our first time performing together since 2016. I've been performing a little bit this year. I just did a show with Afroman the other night. The deluxe version of my album Application of Love is out now. 24 tracks total. Go stream that. This has been episode number 9 of the Sundaze Brunch podcast. I'm Ryan Bronson.
And I am Bobby Matz. Thank you so much for coming and tuning in and coming to brunch with us. But for next time, Rye, tell them, don't be late for brunch. See you next time.
See you next time.